It happens like every single year. You're a contractor, or maybe you run a design build firm, or
Yeah.
spring and summer roll around, and it's just absolute chaos in the best way possible.
Oh, yeah, totally. The phone is just ringing off the hook.
Right. Your crews are booked out for weeks, maybe even months, and, you feel like an absolute genius, like you've got this whole business thing figured out. But then the weather turns.
The dreaded slow season, it really just sort of creeps up on you.
It really does. The calls they stop. Suddenly you're looking at the calendar for next month, and there are these massive, terrifying, wide open gaps.
Yeah, that's when the real stress hits.
Exactly. You start doing the mental math on your payroll, you look at your overhead, your equipment leases, and this very real cold panic starts to set in. And the knee-jerk reaction for, almost every single business owner in that exact moment.
They hit the panic button. Just throw a massive amount of money to Google Ads.
Right. Hit the emergency red button, like just double the ad budget. Get the phone ringing right now.
Yeah.
And, well, we've been seeing this a lot lately with the contractors we work with here at Atrium.
All the time.
Yeah, they come to us completely stressed out because that panic spending, it isn't actually fixing the problem. At best, it's just, a very expensive Band-Aid.
And a really temporary one at that. So, consider this deep dive an open invitation into our internal strategy discussions here on the Atrium team.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to unpack exactly why that panic spending is a trap. And, more importantly, how you can actually build a system that creates consistent, predictable work.
Because you need leads even when the market demand takes a nosedive.
Right, because before we can really talk about fixing the slow season, we have to look at the mechanics of why that pipeline dries up so suddenly in the first place.
For sure, because when you're in the thick of the busy season, it feels like the momentum will just, carry you forever.
Yeah, and that right there is what we call the illusion of busy season momentum. It's a structural issue that we see constantly when we audit new clients.
Oh, absolutely.
When we look under the hood of a lot of these home service companies, we see that they're relying entirely on a really fragile combination of things, like word-of-mouth referrals, very basic Google ads, maybe a handful of online reviews,
Right.
and just the sheer momentum of high seasonal demand.
Which, let's be honest, feels phenomenal when it's working. If the phone is ringing, you're not going to question why.
Naturally, when demand is at its peak, that combination works flawlessly. A rising tide lifts all boats.
Right.
If a homeowner desperately needs an AC repair in the middle of a July heat wave, they aren't going to be super picky.
Yeah, they just need somebody out there.
Exactly. But when the slow season hits, the tide goes out fast. And suddenly you realize there's no underlying system catching leads. There's no predictable lead flow at all.
Diego, one of our teammates, was actually just talking about this the other day when we were reviewing some client campaigns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he pointed out how for so many of these companies, ads have just become this incredibly stressful temporary fix. Like, they aren't executing a long-term strategy. They are literally just buying revenue month by month.
Diego hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
Buying revenue month by month is it's an exhausting way to live as a business owner.
Totally.
Think about the psychology of that. It means every single month, on the first of the month, you're starting from zero. You're completely at the mercy of the algorithm, the market temperature, and, whoever happens to have the biggest ad budget in your zip code that week.
It makes me think of an analogy. Relying purely on turning up your ad spend during a slow season is a lot like trying to patch a leaky bucket by just pouring water into it faster.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. You're standing there with the hose on full blast, stressing out, watching all this expensive water spill out the sides and soak your shoes, when what you really should be doing is, fixing the hole in the bottom of the bucket.
Yeah, and to take that leaky bucket analogy one step further, because it really is the perfect way to visualize this Google Ads, is the water hose. You have to pay the water bill to Google every single month, and the second you stop paying, the water shuts off.
It just dries up.
Exactly. But building out your foundational marketing assets,
Yeah.
that is patching the bucket. You pay for the patch once, you put the work in once, and it holds the water for you year after year.
Right.
The Atrium approach is fundamentally about fixing that bucket.
Yeah.
Or, better yet, building a much better bucket from scratch.
So let's talk about the construction of that better bucket. What does that actually look like in practice for a contractor who's just, used to flipping an ad switch?
Well, it requires a massive mental shift.
Yeah.
You have to move from chasing demand to generating it.
Okay, generating it.
Yeah. This means building a comprehensive inbound marketing system that's constantly working in the background. The goal is to generate that inbound demand so the owner can actually step back from the marketing chaos.
And actually run the business.
Right. Focus on what they do best, which is operations and team management.
Well, inbound demand is one of those great marketing terms, but for a contractor listening who doesn't live in the digital marketing weeds, let's get specific. What are the actual gears turning in that system?
Sure. The foundation always starts with the digital assets you own and control. The prime example is a fully optimized Google business profile. And I don't just mean having a profile that you claimed 3 years ago and forgot about.
Right, the one gathering digital dust.
Exactly. I mean, treating it as a dynamic, living asset.
Because there's a huge difference between existing on Google and actually leveraging it.
A huge difference. Let's explain the mechanism of how Google's local search algorithm actually works. It's essentially a matching engine, and it's constantly looking for proof of life.
Proof of life, I like that.
Yeah. When a homeowner searches for custom deck builder near me, Google wants to serve up the most relevant active business. So when you constantly update your business profile with new photos from a recent job site, or you update your seasonal hours, you're sending a signal to the algorithm.
Right.
You're proving that your business is highly active in that specific zip code right now. That recency pushes you way above the competitor who hasn't touched their profile since 2021.
It's essentially telling the algorithm, hey, we are here, we are working today, look at this project we just finished down the street.
Precisely. Pair that digital storefront with highly targeted regional service pages on your website. We build out educational content that answers the exact questions your ideal clients are typing into Google late at night.
Like what?
Like, how much does a kitchen remodel cost in my county? Or, what is the best material for a driveway in freezing weather?
Okay, wait, I have to push back here for a second. Let's be realistic. If I'm a contractor and it's mid-November and my phone isn't ringing today telling me to go optimize my Google business profile and write some educational website content feels, well, painfully slow.
I get that.
It feels like you're telling me to plant an apple tree because I'm hungry today. Don't I need leads right now?
That is a very valid concern.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's a pushback we hear all the time during our initial strategy calls. When payroll is looming, patience just goes out the window.
Oh, absolutely.
So to be totally clear, we are not anti-ads at Atrium. Ads are incredibly powerful for generating immediate traction.
Yeah, I mean, we run a lot of ads for our clients. We know they work.
We do. But here is the critical distinction that most business owners miss. Service-specific Google ads and retargeting campaigns must support your overall strategy. They cannot replace it.
Oh, okay.
If you just turn on ads without fixing the foundation we just talked about,
Mm-hmm.
you're just spraying that hose at the leaky bucket. You're wasting money.
And since you mentioned retargeting campaigns, just to translate that for the listeners who might be, swinging hammers instead of analyzing click-through rates, we're talking about those ads that essentially follow a user around the internet after they visit your website, right? Like a digital reminder.
Yes, exactly. It keeps you top of mind. But let me give you a real-world example from our internal work to show why the foundation matters before you run those ads. Think about the case study we recently did with Flutech.
Oh, yeah, that is the perfect example of this exact problem.
Right. With Flutech, the realization was that getting a click on a Google ad is only half the battle. Honestly, it's the easy half. Anyone with a credit card can buy a click.
Sure.
But if that click sends a potential customer to a website that lacks clear service offers, or doesn't have trust indicators like real reviews, has no financing options, or hides their past projects, that click is entirely wasted. They bounce right off your site and go to the next guy.
Well, put yourself in the homeowner's shoes, right? What does a customer actually do when they need a big project done? They search for a service, they open 4 different tabs from 4 different local companies, and they compare.
Yep, the multi-tab comparison.
Exactly. And if your tab is just a generic stock photo of a smiling guy in a hard hat and a phone number, and the next tab over has authentic team photos, clear pricing structures, video testimonials, beautiful high-resolution project galleries, I mean, you lose every single time.
And that is where the psychology of the buyer shifts. When you improve your online positioning, when you build that better bucket, you change how the customer evaluates you.
Right.
They stop comparing you based on price, and they start comparing you based on value and trust.
To ground this in contractor terms, running expensive ads to a terrible website is like trying to frame a house before you've poured the concrete foundation. It might stand up for a minute, but the second the wind blows, the whole thing collapses. You have to pour the foundation first. And the moment you escape that price war, everything changes because competing on price is just a race to the bottom.
It's a race nobody wins.
Yeah.
So yes, run the targeted ads, but run them to a destination that actually converts because it's built on authority and trust. That's how you make your advertising efficient, rather than just an expensive monthly gamble.
So we've patched the bucket. New leads are actually staying in and converting. But here's the irony. I see contractors get so obsessed with catching new water, so hyper-focused on acquiring the next new customer, that they completely ignore the water they've already collected.
Oh, all the time.
Which brings us to what I think is the most overlooked hidden gold mine for surviving a slow season.
The database.
The database. Once that foundation is fixed, you don't actually always need new leads to fill the calendar.
The data on this is just staggering. The strongest, most cost-effective slow season strategy isn't about acquiring new leads at all. It's entirely focused on the customers you've already served.
Right.
The most successful home service companies we work with don't just finish a job, collect the check, and walk away forever. They build maintenance programs, they set up automated seasonal reminders, they run dedicated reactivation campaigns.
Wait, let me stop you there. Because if reactivating task customers is so incredibly cheap and effective, why isn't every single contractor already doing it? Is it just laziness? Or is there some psychological block where business owners feel like a past job is a closed book?
It's definitely a psychological block. A lot of contractors view their work as purely transactional. You fix the roof is fixed, the transaction's over.
They move on.
Right. They feel awkward reaching back out because they don't want to feel salesy. But what they miss is that they are providing a service.
It reminds me of going to a networking event. Imagine you walk into a room and you spend all your energy running around, sweating, handing out business cards, desperately trying to make brand new friends, while completely ignoring the 5 loyal, awesome friends who are already sitting right next to you at a table just waiting for you to come over and say hello.
That is exactly what happens. You already did the incredibly hard work of earning their trust. You already paid the steep acquisition cost to get them as a customer the first time around.
Exact.
Selling to a past customer costs a fraction of a fraction compared to acquiring a new one from scratch. If you're a contractor and you have a database of past clients, and I don't care if it's in a highly sophisticated CRM software or just a dusty old Excel spreadsheet on your desktop and you aren't actively communicating with them, you are leaving a massive amount of revenue on the table.
So let's open up the Atrium playbook for the listeners here. When we see a slow season approaching for one of our clients, what are the specific levers we pull with that existing customer base to get the calendar filled?
We use a very structured approach. First, we launch those reactivation campaigns. And these aren't spammy blasts. They're simple, personal check-ins. Like, hey, John, we replaced your HVAC unit 2 years ago. Just checking in to see how it's running before winter hits.
Oh, that's smart.
Second, we heavily promote preventative services. Think about things homeowners need to handle before the weather gets extreme. Roof inspections, pipe insulation, things like that.
So it's really proactive problem solving for the homeowner.
Exactly. Third, we incentivize them to book future work early. Give them a reason to commit to a spring project in December. And finally, we focus heavily on increasing the average ticket value of the jobs we are already getting.
Right. And for those not living in the spreadsheets, average ticket value just means making more revenue per job while the crew is already mobilized and on-site, right? Like cross-selling or upselling related services.
Correct. If your crew is already at the house doing a bathroom remodel, what else can they handle while the tools are out? When you implement these steps, marketing stops being this frantic, stressful scramble for the very next job.
Right.
It becomes a predictable system of controlled growth. You stop relying on the weather, and you start generating your own momentum.
The mechanism there is so powerful. But let's shift gears slightly because everything we've talked about, the digital foundation, the conversion elements, the reactivation emails, it all heavily relies on the business actually looking the part. And this is especially true for the high-end, luxury, and design-focused brands we partner with.
This is a critical point that often gets overlooked. If you are a luxury home service company or a high-end design-build firm, you should never be competing like a commodity contractor. The signaling has to be entirely different.
Yeah, because if you charge premium prices, but your digital footprint looks like a $99 handyman special, that creates massive cognitive dissonance for the buyer.
It creates immediate distrust. If you're selling premium services, your entire brand presence has to radiate authority. And authority isn't built by putting voted #1 in bold red letters on your website.
Not at all.
Authority is built through undeniable proof, high quality, professionally shot before and after visuals, real detailed project documentation that shows your messy process turning into a flawless result.
Right.
It's built through a brand message that is relentlessly consistent across every single platform. When you elevate the brand's perceived trust, you automatically decrease the customer's price objections.
Andrea Romero actually pointed this out recently. We were in an internal meeting reviewing the assets for that massive church capital campaign we worked on.
Oh, the church capital campaign is the perfect case study for this exact concept.
Yeah. For the listeners, we had this project where securing these massive, high-stakes investments from a committee required an incredible level of trust. We're talking millions of dollars. You can't just run a clever Facebook ad to win that kind of work.
Well, way.
And Andrea noted that what actually moved the needle wasn't persuasive copy, it was the architectural visualization.
Because visuals are the ultimate proof. When a high net worth client or a commercial steering committee of 12 anxious people sees premium architectural visualization, when they see flawlessly documented past projects, they aren't thinking, can I get this 10% cheaper down the street?
Right.
They're thinking, these are the professionals. They have a vision. I trust them to handle this massive liability.
We showed them exactly what the future was going to look like with such stunning clarity that it completely bypassed the usual friction of the sales process.
Yeah, that level of branding plays a massive role in actual marketing performance. It isn't just about looking pretty. It is a functional tool that secures large-scale projects.
It really changes the definition of marketing. It's not just about being found on Google when someone searches for you. It's about what they experience the second they find you.
Exactly. And what happens when a premium company ignores this? This is something we've unfortunately seen fail time and time again before a client comes to us.
Oh, yeah.
When a high-end design build firm tries to copy the generic, loud, discount-driven marketing tactics of their cheaper commodity-level competitors, they just invite commodity clients.
They completely confuse the market.
They do. They lose their premium positioning, and they force themselves into a race to the bottom on price. And let me tell you, that is a race you absolutely do not want to win, especially when your business overhead, your skilled labor, your materials, your insurance, is built for high-end execution.
Yeah, you win the race to the bottom, and your prize is working 80 hours a week for margins so thin they practically disappear. It's a fast track to total burnout.
Absolute burnout.
Okay, so let's pull all of these threads together. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the leaky bucket of panic spending to the mechanics of the Google algorithm, the hidden goldmine of your database, and the power of visual authority.
It's a lot.
It is. But the core philosophy here, and really the entire reason we operate the way we do at Atrium, is that as a business owner, you shouldn't have to be guessing if your ads are working.
Right. You shouldn't be spending your evenings managing complex marketing tools, trying to write clever ad copy, or manually tracking lead performance on a whiteboard in your office.
Your job is operations. Your job is delivering an incredible final product, managing your crews, keeping clients happy, and scaling the actual business. Our job as a growth partner is the marketing execution.
Exactly.
It's moving your business away from the exhausting cycle of just buying monthly revenue and moving toward building permanent marketing assets that work for you year-round.
Building assets, not just buying revenue. Because when the slow season inevitably hits, and it always does, those underlying assets are what keep the lights on and the crews busy without you ever having to hit that panic button.
I want to leave the listener with something to really think about. If you're sitting in your truck right now or at your desk, ask yourself this. If you were to completely turn off your ad spend tomorrow, $0 going to Google, 0 to Meta, no lead gen services, do you have a system in place that would still bring in a single phone call next week?
Wow. That is the ultimate stress test for your business foundation.
It's a heavy question, and if you're being honest with yourself and the answer is no, then you know exactly where you need to start. You need to fix the bucket.
Start by pouring that digital foundation.
Listen, if you're a contractor or a design-focused business owner and you're trying to get more consistent, better quality projects, not just tire kickers looking for the cheapest bid, and you want to stop stressing over the slow season every single year, that is exactly what we help with here at Atrium.
Yeah, we act as an extension of your team to actually build these predictable systems.
We break all of these strategies down even more, and you can check out exactly how we do it over at creativeatrium.com.
It's all about creating that long-term stability so you can get back to doing what you actually love doing.
That's the whole point. So as you look at your calendar for next month, just remember, you don't need a bigger hose to pour water into a leaky bucket. You just need a better bucket. Well, catch you on the next deep dive.